Wow, yeah, that's a...
All right, we just went live on
Bernard.
StreamYard. Okay, here we go. All right, it's on WKBW's Twitter.
Oh, is it? I do not see it, Matt.
Just go to WKBW. They just posted it.
That one?
Yep, it's that one.
Oh, it's in
That
there.
thing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everyone,
I thought it was like
second
a
half hour
story.
Leading the Charge begins right now. Okay.
Oh, this is the... Oh, my goodness.
See.
Wow. What a freaking hole.
Okay.
Look at that. It's Dalton Kincaid.
Oh, good for him. Well, I'm glad he's... That's good. That's a good sign.
Uh-huh.
Did you see the link?
No.
WKBW. Welcome to the second half an hour of Leading the Charge, everyone. Matt Bove, Howard Simon, Joe Biscaglia. They are not ignoring me looking at their phones. They are just reposting the link to the second half an hour so we can answer a bunch of your questions as we talk about the Bills' 34-10 win against the Tennessee Titans. We can talk about the wide receivers. We can talk about all the good stuff. We can talk about all the bad stuff. I do want to start, though, with the wide receivers because everybody after this game is talking about Amari Cooper. So is he the best receiver to ever wear a Bills jersey? That's my question.
By the way, before I answer that question, I was texting the news director saying, why do we have to keep working with you?
That's a good point.
Just so you know.
That's a good point.
And Joe was also texting the news director.
And for that reason, I'm out, everyone. Have a great rest of your night. How good was
Tibbetts?
How good? Tibbetts, you're getting the call. Bring him in. Bring in Tibbetts.
You lefty.
How good was Amari Cooper yesterday?
Well, I think if you're judging best Bills receiver ever on a 12 route run sample size,
Per sample size, it's got to be the best.
he's in the running.
Yes.
I think Cooper, what he was able to do on just 4 days of actual time on task was very impressive. He's a very savvy guy. When you listen to him talk about his craft, very impressive. He knows what's going on. High IQ player. You can see it from a film perspective anytime. He understands how to evaporate leverages in man-to-man.
Evaporate leverages. What a guy.
I don't even understand
What
how
a
you
Rolodex
evaporate
of words this guy's got. Evaporate leverage.
I looked that up.
That doesn't even sound like it makes sense.
It does make sense.
Really?
He's able to figure out spacing against zone coverage. He understands angles and finding the right angle to be able to have the quarterback be able to get him the ball and be in a right spot. On scramble drills, that's another one of his excellent abilities. He didn't really have to do it too much in this game because I don't think Allen had a scramble drill when actually there was one. I'm sorry. There was one, but he didn't really have to relocate all that much in it. So Cooper he understands the position so well. He is a technician in every sense of the word, and what he was able to do just in those few snaps was impressive.
I don't want to overreact to one game.
Sure,
Because
absolutely.
I think we all did a little bit after 3-0. But having said that, if you look at what happened yesterday in the second half, if that is more the norm,
Yes.
that's fantastic for this. We spent the first 6 games going, who is going to catch a football? Who's going to get open? Who's going to make plays? In the second half yesterday, Bills wide receivers had 15 targets, caught 13 of them for 206 yards and a touchdown. Those all came from 3 guys, Cooper, Shakir, Coleman.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Joe's talking about Cooper, and that buzz was legit, right? He's energizing this passing game, at least, again, small sample size.
Absolutely.
I get it. Coleman just had his best game as a Bill, 4 catches, 125 yards. Shakir is Shakir. He has been the most consistent receiver. Again, he is Mr. Reliable. You throw it in his area, he catches it. So if these guys can continue, we've gone from what is going on with Curtis Samuel. Matt Collins is here for blocking. What the heck is Josh Allen going to do? Oh, dear Lord, help us. To, wow, that's a good top 3 if they can play like that.
I have a real quick fun fact. How many of Keon Coleman's targets do you think Amari Cooper was on the field for?
0.
The answer is 0.
The answer is 0. I saw that earlier today. That's why I know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Oh, look at you go.
Yeah, I really liked how Keon evaporated leverage when he was on the field.
Can you explain to me what leverages are?
I cannot, but actually, this is a little bit too much
Did you say
math.
beverages?
there's
Beverages.
a little bit too much
There's one
math here.
down there.
Can we actually bring up the comment from Lloyd Taco Factory? And I know that like that's not a joke either. It's just a very good transition to what I wanted to talk about. Maybe. The second half was most certainly a step up from the previous 2 weeks. My question is, for as much good as there was, the first half was a mess. Why? And how do they fix this? They have now, in 7 games played, been trailing in 4 of those games at the half. That's not sustainable unless you're playing against bad teams. The Titans are a bad team. Against Houston, they couldn't dig themselves out of the hole. Against Baltimore, they didn't even come close to digging themselves out of the hole. How do they start faster, and how big of a concern is it?
Go ahead, John.
I don't know how they start faster.
But it's a concern.
It is.
That's something that they just need to do. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, you can game plan for this. You just have to execute when you come out there. And that's really what it all boils down to.
Is it as simple as like if Amari Cooper doesn't drop that first target, do you think that maybe the beginning looks different? I mean, that kind of just immediately
that would have at least given them a first down. And their first 2 plays ahead of that play, it was a 5-yard gain by James Cook
and a 4-yard
gain by James Cook. So it would have given them a first down. But on those first 3 drives, they had a total of 18 yards. 9 plays, 18 yards, 2 yards per play. Not going to do it. And then defensively, the Titans came in with a really good game plan.
Sure.
Give them credit because they were able to force the Bills into difficult decisions, play in, play out, to where they had to make a choice. And there were certain times where the Bills chose wrong. A guy gets open, and that's how you see Nick Vanette get like a 3-catch game in the first half, even though he hasn't had a 3-catch game probably in the last 2 years.
He's right. Some of it is execution. If you look at the second half, I went back and double-checked this because my memory sucks. But if you look at the second half, they hit huge plays on the very first play of some drives, right? First, the touchdown to go up 14-10. First play, 14-yard pass to Coleman. Davis runs for 22 on the field goal drive. First play, the last score of the game, 57-yard pass to Coleman. First play of the drive, Cooper, 27-yard pass. First play of the drive where they go up 24-10. Instead of getting 2 yards or a 5-yard pass, all of a sudden, literally on the first play 4 times, they are hitting huge plays. To me, it's more troubling for me about the defense. Why do they look so bad at times in the first half and then all of a sudden flip it? And they're completely dominant in the second half. And this was not just a Tennessee game thing.
No, this has been a lot of games.
The explosive plays continue to be an issue. And by explosive plays, I mean gains of 10 plus yards.
They give them up a lot.
Yeah, but in the second half, that was less frequent. There was like a 4 drive span where the Titans, I think, only gained 14 yards from the third quarter into the fourth quarter before it was garbage time.
They had a stretch where they had 11 plays and gained 10 yards.
So they definitely fixed the explosive play rate in the second half there. But the first half, Tony Pollard was, after a false start penalty, Tony Pollard comes back, gets a 14-yard gain, all of a sudden it's 2nd and 1. And that's just the type of stuff that you can't have. And I don't exactly know how you get yourself out of it unless you just kind of execute better.
Okay, so we're going to go on the TV side to a quick commercial break. We're going to answer a couple questions during the commercial, and we'll also answer some on the other side of the break. If you're watching online, don't go anywhere. If you're watching on TV, we'll be right back.
Okay, first question. Why is Matt hosting the show?
Why is Matt hosting
Dom
the
in
show?
Buffalo.
From Dom in Buffalo.
Wow.
This is a good question, and you're the right person to answer this.
Oh, boy.
This is from, I don't know how to say this. Are the safeties playing any better, or are they still an area of concern?
I think Taylor Rapp has played better. This game against the Titans, I thought he had one of his better games.
Taylor Rapp,
yes.
Okay, yes.
I still believe DeMar Hamlin is a liability on the defense.
Yeah.
And there was a play that should have gone for a touchdown that unless for some insane reason Calvin Ridley flattened his route and didn't continue on, where he split the cover two, both two defenders in the back half. Mason Rudolph put a perfect ball on, and then for some reason Ridley just didn't continue on the route the way that he was going. So that would have been a touchdown, and that would have been on Hamlin because Hamlin was the guy who was late to get over. So to me, Hamlin's just a little too safe. And where he doesn't want to give up the big play. And it just allows a bunch of stuff to happen underneath him. And so you need someone more decisive. You need someone that has the instincts. And I just don't know that he is there at this point in his career. For me, I would much rather see what Cole Bishop has than continue to put DeMar Hamlin out there. But they're not going to replace him because they're winning.
What do we think about Tyler Bass? We get a lot of questions about Tyler Bass. And I feel like
he'll keep on kicking next week.
Yeah, this is my thing.
As long as he doesn't have a big miss, he'll keep the job.
It's a week-to-week basis.
Right? It's basically until he screws up again, he's not going anywhere.
In a grand manner.
Now, the CBS guys, you guys are in the press box. I don't know if you heard this, but the CBS guys said in their production meeting, McDermott told them they had a kicking competition in Thursday's practice, and Bass won the competition. Now, let's face it, right? The minute he misses a kick that cost him a game, he's probably gone.
Yeah.
He's on double secret probation.
He's not going to be gone though, because that
money. How do you get rid of him?
It would screw up their cap. So
there's that much dead cap if they moved on him.
It's like $6 million.
So basically, if something were to happen, they would just make him inactive, and they would elevate somebody from the practice squad.
It would be Lucas
Haversick
being elevated for 3 games, and then you figure it out from there.
That would be a mess.
Yeah, but then you're occupying multiple. You have 2 kickers taking spots.
No, but he wouldn't.
He's got to go. Oh, he goes back to the practice squad, comes up for game day, but you're a limited number of moves.
3. Yeah.
Okay. 3. Okay, so we got some questions on Tyler Bass. I really like this question from Mike, who is watching on Facebook, about how long it's going to take to incorporate Amari Cooper. So we're going to.
Is that a pun?
No, it was not going to. Just the leverage and the angles.
You don't want him to evaporate.
Mike, we're going to answer Mike's question when we come back. Julia, can you have Mike's question ready to go?
Evaporating.
Thank you.
Leverage. At some point,
watch Cooper on a couple of routes. I'm actually going to.
If you're limited to the 3 call-ups, so at some point, you have to make a decision. You can't just keep.
Oh, welcome back. We're just over here talking about evaporating leverage with Amari Cooper.
We're talking about Tyler Bass.
We're talking about Tyler Bass. This is a question from Mike. All right. He says, hey, man, my question is, how long do you think it will take to fully integrate Cooper into the offense? He seems like a serious guy, which should make that easier. So yesterday, I think we saw a pretty small sample size, but a lot to like. How long do we think it'll take? And what is a realistic kind of scale for him to start getting on the field 50, 60, 70% of snaps?
I think he could get 50 plus next week.
Okay, wow.
Against the Seahawks. I mean, it's not really that much more from what he had this past week. I mean, he was at 36% from this past game, and I think that would have been higher had it not been a blowout, because over the last 14 snaps he had only 3, and the Bills were up by 2 scores.
Sure.
So I don't necessarily think it's that big of a push up to get to 50. I think there's going to be a natural kind of move up the snap percentage board here over the next 2-3 weeks, and then I would not be surprised by mid to late November if Amari Cooper is getting 80 to 90% of snaps.
Somebody says, I agree with you. Evaporated leverage sounds like a made-up term.
Well, it's just a way to describe his route running against man coverage. Because if you want me to get wide receiver nerdy, I'm going to get wide receiver nerdy.
Please do. This is literally the half an hour to get wide receiver nerdy.
So if there's a defender lining up on the inside,
I feel like we need to watch him like this as he's doing this.
If there's a defender, and it's man coverage, if there's a defender lined up to your inside and you need to get to the inside on a slant pattern, you have to do something to be able to do that. And that is the leverage that we're talking about. Because if you're on the outside and he's on the inside, you have to be able to get on the inside somehow.
Yeah, but it's not just gaining leverage. You're saying evaporating leverage.
Well, yes. You have to evaporate the defender's leverage of what he has. So Cooper is really good at being able to fake going one way and getting the defender to bite on it, and then getting back towards the other way to get a target from the quarterback. That's what I'm talking about.
You made sense. That makes perfect sense.
What was that last one about how nerdy can Joe be?
No, this is a bit of a mean question. This is from Michael. He said, ask Howard who will end up going further in their respective playoff runs, the Bills or the Mets. I mean, the Mets get all the way.
The Mets got one shot. The Bills would have to get to the AFC Championship.
Is that a realistic outcome?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to happen?
Here's a better question.
Right now, I'd say no.
Right.
But
yeah, it's unlikely, but it's not impossible.
Well, with Amari Cooper, anything is possible. I mean, I do feel a little bit better now. I would like Matt Milano to come back at some point this season towards the end of the year. That would make me feel better about that. But I think, honestly, also, guys, you know what's changed since the season began? Well, Kansas City hasn't. They're still the gold standard. But look around the conference. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I know the Baltimore game didn't go well. Woulda, coulda, shoulda beat Houston. Pittsburgh.
Here's my thing about the Baltimore game.
Who else in the conference you look at and go, no shot at beating them?
You both know that I'm not like always Mr. Positivity when it comes to a lot of this stuff. I am very confident that if they played the Ravens again next week, it would not be nearly as bad as it was in that game. I really do believe that. Everything they did in that game was bad. Offensively, they were bad. They couldn't stop the run.
They also have Amari Cooper now.
They have Amari Cooper now. They played the game without Terrell Bernard or Taron Johnson or Taylor Rapp. Like, they were really banged up in that game. So I just think that it could be different. We've got more questions. We're going to go to another commercial break.
Was that
We're going to keep answering questions. What was that?
Making fun of the Mets losing in the LCS?
I think that's pretty good, right? We'll be right back.
Everybody's a critic.
Everybody's a critic. Who do you want to win now?
Because you're both teams.
But you're.
I'm rooting for the Yankees.
I was going to say your son.
Don't put this on the air.
Uh-huh.
They can't rebroadcast the stream, can they? I'm rooting for the team that plays in the Bronx. I can't even say the name in the full sentence. I'm rooting for that team.
Does Jonathan get a ring if they win?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. That's
the only reason why.
Yeah.
This is a special one-time exception to the rule.
Yeah.
It will never happen again. This is like Halley's Comet. It happens every 75 years.
And now
this is the 1 year.
That's pretty cool. Let's see.
Watch, they'll lose now that I'm rooting
for them. There's a lot of good questions. This one from Juan is like very specific. So can we bring up this one? It says, guys, especially Joe, because you will be straight about this stuff. Please answer me why I'm sitting on my couch or in the stadium and know what to come from in the opposition when we on defense and the Bills don't see what's coming. Basically, doesn't watch film, shaking my head. This is
how come the fans know what the opponent's going to do and the Bills defense doesn't, is what he's basically saying.
I think, I would like to know more specifically what they're referring to.
He apparently feels he can predict the next play from the opponent, but the Bills can't.
I'm basically thinking that he is saying, as we were watching that game in the first half, at least yesterday, it was kind of obvious like what the Titans were doing, right? They were doing all that Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they were having success with it.
Yep.
Why did it take so long for the Bills to adjust?
I think it's because they were trying to avoid the big play, and so they just wanted to make sure they took the bait.
Bend but don't break.
Yeah, and so because of that, it enabled the Titans to be able to get these.
They got the little plays,
these leak out plays, the short yardage plays that wound up going for 10, 11, 12 yards. So I think that was them just being slightly preventative, but the Bills got a bit more aggressive as the game went on, specifically with sending more pressures and some simulated pressures at Mason Rudolph, making him prove that he could beat them. And Mason Rudolph did not.
Which they could see the first half and go, you know what? Let's bring it to these guys on the line. We're going to beat them.
Titans are horrible. That's my.
The next block is going to be a quick block. Julia is telling me in my ear.
750 already.
Julia, may we please have the question from George ready to go at 7:41 p.m. because I feel like this is a good one block conversation that we can have. Okay, how long until we come back on TV? Did you say 3 or 30?
Can't be 3.
Okay, well now we have awkwardly 20 seconds until we come back on TV. So, hi everyone watching online. We're going to be back on TV in 20 seconds. Thanks for watching, everybody. Huh?
When are you going to shave?
I haven't shaved since the day before my wedding.
Same.
Really? I was going to say, oh my God.
I can't grow facial hair though.
Second, let me just look here.
I can't do it. I got to go T.
So I don't know if this is people getting greedy or if they just think the Bills have an opportunity here, but George brought up a good question, and it said, do you guys think Bean makes another move before the trade deadline? I'm hearing Edwards, the safety, is not happy about his playing time. What George is referring to is he's liking tweets on X about how he's not on the field and he should be on the field. A lot of people defending Mike Edwards. If they made another move, what would it be for, or what should it be for, and why? You can start this time.
Safety has to be.
Yeah,
has to be. It's the last line of defense. Joe talked about, DeMar Hamlin earlier. Maybe it's just they're just waiting for Cole Bishop and he'll do. But you have to fortify that spot. If Rapp's playing better, I feel better because honestly, the safeties going into the season and the first few games did not leave you reason to feel optimistic. For me, it has to be safety.
See, I feel like that's going to be Micah Hyde.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not going to be a trade.
Right, but that's still safety.
Sure, that's still
what
safety.
Position? It's not offensive line. It's not wide receiver. It's not running. It's nothing on offense.
Are you ready for me to be the wet blanket?
Sure.
We live for that.
We don't know yet because there's still a lot of time before November 5th. And
Joe, answer the question.
There could be.
Isn't it like it's 2 weeks? Yeah, you're right. It's 2 weeks. It's 2 more games.
There's 2 more games.
2 more games.
Right now, if tomorrow was the trade deadline, what would the move be?
Backup offensive line.
You're such a wet blanket.
It's backup offensive.
Wow, I can't wait for that text.
Okay.
Hey, honey, did you hear what the Bills did? They traded for a backup offensive lineman.
Well, would you rather
No,
that? Would you rather
I get
that
why you said that.
or Ryan Vandermark come in for one of
No.
Dawkins?
I know why you said it. I'm just saying it's not exactly something that creates buzz.
They just went out and got Amari Cooper. Don't get greedy.
How about this one? Another wide receiver.
No.
Yeah,
Why
I don't
not?
think that's
Not happening.
Why not?
Not happening.
I think it would be great.
They're not going to roster 6.
No,
not
probably
happening.
not. But why do they need to roster some of the guys that they have?
Why would you get another receiver and take time away from Shakir or Coleman? Cooper?
I'm taking time away from
Hollins
or Samuel.
No, because those guys do offer a specific function within the offense. Hollins at least can block. Samuel is at least a gadget guy. Whoever if you're like, let me go bring in DeAndre Hopkins. Who cares?
Okay. All right. One more segment on actual TV on the other side. We'll stick with you during the commercial break online, then we'll wrap it up.
No, I'm with you. I get you can't. You're not going to be a receiver. And I knew why you meant it. Because the depth is incredibly scary. If anybody gets hurt, they're in big trouble.
Michael's question.
Totally understand what you said.
Should the Bills think about replacing Sam Martin, Mr. Puntapalooza?
No,
has he been fine?
He's okay.
He's fine. So no concerns about Sam Martin.
Yeah.
We talked about Tyler Bass a little bit here. This is about Jeff. You guys didn't mention Taylor Rapp. We talked about him briefly.
Yeah.
I feel like Taylor Rapp has been fine, right? If they're going to get another safety, it's not going to be to replace Taylor Rapp.
Right? Improving.
I wouldn't say fine. I would say he is one of the worst starters on the team.
Okay.
But he is the best starting safety that they have right now.
Okay.
They definitely should bring in a safety.
And he had this game against the Titans was, I think, his best game so far. But I still would not consider it a strength by any stretch.
Pamela, the defense needs to be more aggressive and less reactive in the first half. Do we agree with that statement?
Depends on the opponent.
Yeah.
Against the Titans, I agree. Against the Ravens, feel it out.
Somebody said Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett.
I saw that on Twitter today.
Well, apparently teams are calling the Browns on Myles Garrett.
They're shocked.
I mean, because basically, like, they need to.
Does everyone know how much cap space the Bills have?
Yeah.
$2 million?
I read under $3 million.
If Myles Garrett is going to be traded, he is going to be a Detroit Lion. That is where he is going to go.
Hutchinson.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
How good would that? I mean, they were already very
Never
good.
rule out Dallas.
Gosh. Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons, or do they just not pay Micah Parsons?
I mean, their defense altogether stinks. So.
Their defense does stink. Okay, we've got 15 seconds left, and then we will be back on television. Thank you all for watching. We're setting a new record for how many people are watching live right now, which is exciting.
And they're out of town.
It's the bit that never stops.
I'm never going to forget. It's like Aaron Rodgers.
I want to answer one more question. This is from Tim before we get to our final thought. What is the key to unlock Curtis Samuel? I don't understand what his role is, and I don't think the Bills do either. And I 100% agree with Tim. It feels like they are forcing looks to him, and every time it happens, something goes wrong. What do they got to do?
Don't play him.
He's. How does his role get bigger now?
Yeah, he's not.
That's the problem.
He's not one of their 3 best.
Yeah.
And
if you throw in Kincaid, he's no higher than the 5th best option. If you want to throw in Cook, he's the 6th best option.
Ray Davis, 7th
but
best.
That's part of the problem.
Here's what you do. Lower your expectations with him, because what he can be successful in is in sort of a hybrid running back wide receiver role that you can use behind the line of scrimmage with screens and everything like that. I know it's difficult to do because, like, hey, they just spent a good amount, not like a crazy amount, but a good amount of money in free agency. But that said, lower the expectations. I think he can have a chance to make some plays here and there in that 5th gadgety role, but
you know who did that last year? At the end of the year was Deontay Hardy. Deontay Hardy made a couple plays for them offensively. He never was as good as you thought he was going to be, but he did make some plays for him. So maybe this will be something we see.
Isaiah McKenzie role.
McKenzie, that's right. I was just going to say
Jamie has a good question. This will be the last thing we answer today. How good are the Bills compared to Kansas City, Baltimore, etc.? I still think that there's those two and then the Bills, but I don't think the gap is huge. What do you guys think?
Kansas City's good defensively.
They're unbelievable
They're
defensively.
really good. And
they made San Francisco look awful.
Yeah.
And they made Brock Purdy look awful.
They're very good defensively, and I still don't think they've hit their ceiling as a passing offense.
No, and they will. But I would imagine the offense gets better and the defense probably comes back down to earth.
They just lost one of their better corners to a fractured ankle.
Yeah. So, I mean, like.
But I think they're in. I think they're in their own category where this was a few years ago where it was Kansas City and then everybody else.
Uh-huh.
I don't think anybody's in the category with Kansas City. Let me see Baltimore a little more.
Uh-huh.
I think they're really good, but I don't know, Joe. I wouldn't say like it's Kansas City and Baltimore. I think it's Kansas City and then Baltimore, and then hopefully the Bills joining Baltimore shortly.
Uh-huh.
I'm not there yet.
I think the Bills are in the upper echelon. I think they're in they're in the top 4, and I don't think it's as huge of a gap as others do.
I agree. All right. That is Joe Buscaglia. That is Howard Simon. I am Matt Bove. Thank you so much for watching and leading the charge. We'll do this again. It was so much fun next Monday following the Seahawks game. Have a great night, everyone.
All right.
Actually, Myles Garrett, they restructured his deal.
Yeah, they gave him all the money up front like they did to Amari
But he's
Cooper.
got years left, though. You have to pick up the remaining contract.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.